Let's get into some shite. Hey, folks, welcome to the Out of Tune Podcast. I am the Out of Tune Podcast guy, Rick. Hey, this weekend, I'm having a yard sale. If anyone wants to come by, pick up some things, it'll be fine. Just drive on by. You know, we were going to have a yard sale last week, and it started raining. I don't know. I think anytime I decide to have a yard sale is when we get rain. So, yeah, I collected a bunch of stuff. I would say about a fourth of our house, and put it in our living room, getting ready for this big yard sale. It was going to be community wide. You know, a bunch of people in the neighborhood decided they wanted to do one, and I brought all of this stuff, put it in the living room, and ready for the big day. And then it rained. Didn't get to do it, so it's been sitting in the living room, and now we got 2 days till Saturday, and then it's starting to look like it might actually rain Saturday. And then next week is Memorial Day. I'm going to be out of town. I won't be able to do it. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Anyway, it's just the weather is not going to cooperate. But if it does, you're invited to my house for a yard sale. Drop by and pick stuff up. I got tons of stuff that I don't need. How you doing out there? How's your summer going? Is it summer? No. How's your spring going so far? I'm doing pretty good. I would like to be in a much cooler climate, but Atlanta's not been too bad this year so far in the spring. We've had a pretty good one. I was without Wi-Fi for a little while. I have let's see. I shouldn't talk about the company, right? I shouldn't mention let's just say I have a Wi-Fi company. I'm just going to mention the company starts with an X. X is my Wi-Fi company. So I don't know. I kind of like them. I've had them for a long time. Never really had a big problem with them. I think a lot of people I know talk about their customer service not being great. And I haven't had that experience. It's been pretty good. So, they have this commercial going on now, which I actually kind of think is funny. It's a bunch of prospectors, and they're coming out because the Wi-Fi is booming, kind of like gold, and so it's like, well, the Wi-Fi is booming, and I like it. It's funny. And so I kind of, every once in a while, I like to shout that kind of loud. And, but our Wi-Fi went down. We didn't have any Wi-Fi. Nobody could figure it out. We called. They didn't know what was going on. So finally, they kept, I don't know why customer service does this, but they tell you that they got things working when they don't have things working. Do you know when sometimes you call customer service and they act like they know what they're talking about, and you know that you know more about the situation than they do? These are just people that they just hired. They've got a little sheet of paper in front of them telling them what they're supposed to say, and they say it not knowing what the heck is going on. Have you ever had, you know what I'm talking about. You've had that experience, and I feel like that's what was happening this time. And so they were like, oh, it's going to be fixed. It'll be fixed by 5 o'clock today. And then 5 o'clock rolled around, it wasn't fixed. They tell you that because at 5 o'clock, their office hours are closed. You can't call back, so you got to wait till the next day. And then they gave us the, we know we're going to fix it by midnight. That didn't happen. So they said, oh, we're sorry, we'll give you an appointment. And so we set up an appointment for a couple of days later, and the next day they called us and said, we canceled your appointment because we fixed it. And so I came home. I was out. I came home and looked, and they had not fixed it, and then we didn't have an appointment. This is customer service nowadays, right? So we forced them to come out. We yelled at them, said it wasn't. They came out, and here's what happened. So I'm not going to go into all of the detail you don't want to hear all of this, but we used to have a cable for like 3 years. Our cable stretched across our driveway because they were supposed to bury it, and they didn't. Customer service. We finally got them to come in and to bury the cable, but the people didn't bury it in the right place. They decided to take it somewhere else, and they decided to rehook it up to a different cable thing. And when they do, they hooked it up to one that was scheduled to be ripped out, so it was dead. It became dead. Our cable went dead. The guy came out and he said they've hooked it up wrong. So we had to go through that whole process. Finally, we got it all working. We figured out who did it and who did it wrong. And they just, I don't know, they don't take responsibility. The company never takes. So we started calling it Li-Fi. They have Li-Fi now. This company that starts with an X has Li-Fi. Speaking of lies, I'm sorry that I went into that too long. We have a new Pope. The Pope, do you care about this? Do you know about the Pope? I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not trying to put down anybody's religion. If this is something that is part of your religion, that's cool. I don't understand. I don't know why we need a Pope in the year 2025. I don't know why we need a Pope. I don't know why we can't Pope ourselves. Okay. Apparently we need somebody else to be our middle guy. So I'm not Catholic, and so I'm okay with not having a Pope. I understand that the Pope is kind of a world leader, so I guess we all kind of need to be a little bit interested in the whole thing because he's there. It's just like the president of another country, I guess. But we have the Pope now. We have a new Pope, American Pope, a Chicago American Pope, which is kind of cool. I don't know what this Pope's going to be like. Some people seem to have liked the last Pope. I think if you were a little more progressive, you liked the last Pope. I don't think the conservatives liked that Pope, and apparently the conservatives don't like this Pope. I don't know yet too much about that guy. But it made me think about what the worst popes in the history were like. Who are the worst popes? Because here's what I don't understand. You put somebody in charge of the morality of religion. You would expect them to be good and moral people. But no, history has shown that is not the case always. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it is. I don't know how they get into those positions, but the most immoral popes, most immoral people as Pope. So I made a list here of the worst. I want to, if you're not sure, if you don't know who the worst, listen to these guys, man. I don't even know how they got into the position. One of the most immoral popes in history was Pope John the 12th. Who served in the year 955 to 964. He was accused of turning the Lateran Palace into a brothel. What? Committing murder, blasphemy, and selling church offices. He was described by his contemporaries as utterly unfit for the papacy. Apparently, yeah. A church synod accused him of gambling, drinking toasts to the devil, and invoking pagan gods. He died under suspicious circumstances, possibly murdered by a jealous husband. How and why did this guy end up as Pope? I don't understand. It's usually like a friend thing, right? It's like the king or whoever at the time is putting the person in charge of the papacy somehow makes an arrangement. The person doesn't really have the credentials to be Pope and doesn't really want to. They just do it for power. Apparently, Pope John the 12th was one of those guys. Pope Benedict the Ninth became Pope as a teenager. He was a teen Pope. That was a sequel to Teen Wolf, wasn't it? The prequel to Teen Wolf was Teen Pope, installed by his powerful family. I guess. He was accused of rapes, murders, and other public scandals, his papacy was so corrupt that he literally sold the papacy to his godfather, Pope Gregory VI. He was just deposed twice and managed to reclaim the papacy twice before being driven out for good. But Teen Pope, he was a badass man and just a bad pope. Okay, Pope Alexander VI, he was a member of the infamous Borgia family. Alexander VI bribed his way into the papacy. He openly fathered several children and appointed them to high positions of power. His reign was marked by rampant nepotism, political manipulation, and scandal. The Borgia name became synonymous with corruption, murder, and moral decay in the church. Pope Alexander VI. Wow. Okay. Pope Urban VI. There's a lot. The sixth. These are the guys. The one. If you got a 6 in your name, you're probably not a good pope, according to my list here. Pope Urban VI's violent temper and paranoia led him to imprison, torture, and murder several cardinals who opposed him. His leadership triggered the Western Schism, where rival popes in Avignon and Rome claimed legitimacy. Wow, you had multiple popes. It was a multi-pope society. Divided the church for nearly 40 years. His cruelty made him one of the most feared figures of his time. Wow. Okay. Pope Stephen VI, another 6 guy, infamous for holding the grotesque cadaver synod, in which he had the corpse of his predecessor, Pope Formosus, exhumed, dressed in papal robes, and put on trial. I bet he lost. After convicting the corpse of various crimes, Stephen ordered his body mutilated, and it probably was pretty much mutilated at the time, and thrown into the Tiber River. His bizarre actions sparked riots and his own physical violent death shortly after. He put a dead guy on the witness stand. He had a trial. Like Weekend at Bernie's, really, I guess. Weekend at Stephen VI. Pope Sergius III was accused of having his rivals murdered to secure the papacy. Sergius III was also known for his relationship with the powerful noblewoman Marozia, with whom he fathered a son who would later become Pope John XI. Wow. His papacy marks the beginning of the pornocracy. You don't want the word pornocracy associated with your papacy, I would think. A period dominated by corrupt Roman aristocratic families. That's a hard word to say. Pope Serge. Pope Boniface VIII, also known as Boniface. I don't know if he was officially known as Boniface, but that's my term. He claimed absolute spiritual and temporal authority over all Christians. You're all mine. Shut up, Boniface. Including kings, through his famous decree, Unum Sanctum. His harsh conflict with King Philip IV of France led to his arrest and public humiliation. Wasn't as powerful as he thought. After his death, he was posthumously accused by his enemies of heresy, immorality, and even Satanism, though these claims have they're likely exaggerated political slanders. Yes, but he didn't sound like a cool dude. Anyway, it's like, I own all of you, including the king. The king's like, we'll see about that. All right, Pope Clement V, he moved the papacy to Avignon, beginning the Babylonian captivity of the papacy, where it fell under the influence of the French monarchy. Clement V notoriously dissolved the powerful Knights Templar under the pressure from King Philip IV of France, leading to mass arrests, torture, and executions of the Templar leadership based on likely fabricated charges. As I would say, like most things in those eras, when you're going before a king, it's fabricated charges. Pope Leo X, we have a Leo now. I can't remember what his number is, but Pope Leo X was best remembered for saying, "Since God has given us the papacy, let us enjoy it." It's like party time. His extravagance and reckless spending led him to authorize the widespread selling of indulgences to finance the rebuilding of St. Peter's Basilica. The scandal directly triggered Martin Luther's 93 theses and the Protestant Reformation, which permanently split Western Christianity, as it should have, it sounds like. And finally, number 10, Pope the Fourth, who was the Pope from 1555 to 1559, 4 years. He was a fanatical enforcer of the Roman Inquisition. No one expects the Roman Inquisition. Pope IV was known for his extreme anti-Semitism, forcing Jews into ghettos and requiring them to wear identifying badges in Rome. His repressive rule created fear throughout the church and city. After his death, Romans rioted in celebration, tearing down his statues and burning his family palace. And yet, they still have popes. I don't know. I guess it's like you have bad presidents, you keep having presidents, but it's a different thing. The Pope really, it stands for morality, right? I just feel like if you got a Pope in there for a long time and the Pope is like worshiping Satan and fathering children, it's time to look at that position a little bit. Maybe the Pope shouldn't be there. I don't know. I'm not the one to judge, I guess. But this new Pope looks like he might be a good Pope. Time will tell how popular he's going to be. I think it'll be interesting to hear a Chicagoan, how do I say it? Chicagoan do the Easter Mass, Is he going to still do it in Latin? I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting. Let's see what the Americans do for a while. All right, I'm going to say goodbye. Hey, it was a short one. I just wanted to bring some popes in for a little bit. Okay. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you're healthy. I'll see you next week.